The subject area that I needed to have a greater understanding of is accounting, and this presentation gives an overview of how I would communicate the knowledge and key concepts of accounting, namely preparation for final accounts, to second year junior cycle business studies students. Why is accounting relevant and what is its link to the curriculum? Well, literacy and numeracy are the foundations of junior cycle key skills. Apart from numeracy, accounting develops the key skills of communicating by using numbers and data to present, interpret, and compare information, and the key skill of managing information and thinking, gathering, recording, organizing, and evaluating. The learning outcomes that are specific to accounting are found in Strand 2 Enterprise. 2.12 Prepare a cash account to monitor income received and payments made, post figures to relevant ledgers, and extract a trial balance. And 2.13 Prepare final accounts to assess the final performance. And these learning outcomes build on students' learnings from Strand 1 Personal Finance, where they identified and classified sources of personal income and expenditure. They learned how to prepare and analyze a budget, and to monitor and calculate income and expenditure. So for this unit of learning, what do the learning outcomes mean for students? What are the learning intentions or aims for students? So they need to become familiar with and understand key accounting terms, understand what a cash account is for and be able to populate one, understand what figures are posted to the ledgers from the analysed cash account, and to be able to create a trial balance in preparation for final accounts. I would introduce the topic area of accounting with students by discussing the importance of accounting. We would then agree the learning aims and success criteria. Accounting builds on prior knowledge from Strand 1 Personal Finance, so students will be familiar with some of the terms used. I would introduce accounting as a process, and I would go through each of the 4 steps. Students would start to become familiar with some of the key terms used, and at the end of the class, by using an exit or a tweet slip, students can inform me what they understood or what they may have found difficult. In class talk or in dialogue with students, I would be asking them why they think accounting is important. Alternatively, an anticipation exercise might also reveal what they thought was important, and then they could match that later at the end of the unit of learning to see how much they had learned. But the type of information that I would be looking for is that accounting is important for a business to record its transactions. It lets a business know whether it is making a profit or a loss. It helps the business to make informed decisions. And it's an accurate and logical way to record important financial information. And importantly, it's required by law. The unit aims or the success criteria for students are that students will learn that accounting is a step-by-step process. They will understand each of the steps and the function of each step. Through practical application of posting figures to the analysed cash book, general ledger, and trial balance, this will aid their learning and understanding of accounting. Students will need to become familiar with the key terms of accounting, and these will be given on a handout to students. Terms such as debit, which is on the left-hand side of the cash book, indicating money coming into the account, and credit, on the right-hand side of the cash book, indicating money being paid out of the account. These will be provided. And a fun way of describing debit and credit is to use a driving analogy, which is drive on the left, crash on the right. Other terms such as income, gains, liabilities, sales, and what folio columns mean will also be provided. We remember things as parts of a whole rather than separate items, So I will present to students the accounting process, which contains 4 interlinked and sequential parts. Each step relies on the previous step for accurate information and at the end of the day for the accounts to balance. Having given an overview of the analysed cash book, students now have the opportunity of watching an online demonstration. In the clip, the presenter demonstrates and clearly explains the debit and credit side of the analysed cash book. The use of the clip allows the teacher to pause the recording at intervals to address any student questions or queries. And the purpose of the analysed cash book is explained, and afterwards students will have the task of partially filling in an analysed cash book and then sharing their results with a partner. The general ledger is the next step in the accounting process, and the difference between the analysed cash book and the general ledger will be explained and why one leads to the other. I'll explain what the debit and credit side means on a general ledger, and as an example of formative assessment, I will be asking questions such as, can you give me an example of an asset, or what is a current liability, to gauge where students are at. On a screen or on a handout, I will go through with students the type of expenses and outgoings on the debit side and the type of income on the credit side of the general ledger. The next and final step in the accounting process before the preparation of the final accounts is the trial balance, and the information from the general ledger is used to prepare the trial balance. It will be explained to students that the balances of the debit and credit sides of the general ledger are brought down to the debit and credit sides of the trial balance. Now, it might be difficult for some students to grasp that the debit and credit sides have to balance, but I will be letting them know that as a process, we can go back steps to check or recheck that the amounts entered have been correct. An example of a trial balance such as this one allows us to go through the figures and to try and grasp that concept of the balance between the debit and credit side. Assessment for learning will occur throughout the lessons in this learning unit, and assessment of learning will occur at the end of the lessons and at the end of this unit of learning. We will recap on the 3 steps in the accounting process. Students will have practical experience of working with an analysed cash book, a general ledger and the trial balance, and how the 3 steps link together. And this should prepare the class, the students, for the next lesson on preparing final accounts.